A lot of intel going on about Walter Nolen. A lot of people asking about Walter Nolen. I'm told via the chat, and it is correct. Yeah. News has just come out via Hayes Fawcett that says former Texas A&M defensive lineman Walter Nolen officially down to Oregon and Ole Miss. So Georgia missing out here. Georgia trying to make a late run per my sourcing. They had a slight chance at him out of high school, and the whole entire recruiting pitch was off development. And that was it. And this hasn't been a development recruiting pitch the entire time. I think if AJ Brooks here, the combination of both worlds would be Oregon. At Oregon, you could get a combination of development under Lupoy, the defensive coordinator up there, who also has a background in defensive line coaching. You can get the development there while also getting some of that Phil Knight cash.
I mean, for me, just kind of analyzing how Georgia has been in the transfer portal over the last few years, I think you know very quickly whether or not Georgia is either going to be getting a guy or if they're going to be instantly in on it and they're going to be heavily favored. Like Walter Nolen, while everybody wanted to link Georgia to the Walter Nolen sweepstakes, it was kind of like, oh, Ole Miss is a player, Oregon's a player. Oh, and by the way, watch out for Georgia. And Georgia typically isn't a program that's going to land those types of kids when they're getting in late, especially the transfer portal kids.
Yeah, Georgia's not like, at least in my experience covering the team, and there are some exceptions, obviously, there always are, but it's not like a set your hair on fire type of thing. It's a very, like the guys they're with, the guys they get, it's a steady thing. It's a progression. It's a relationship that grows, and not Ole Miss comes in like guns blazing, Oregon comes in, and this, like, that's kind of what you need for a guy like Walter Nolen. Is things can shift back and forth, back and forth. That high school recruitment was a little weird, if I remember, like as well. Like,
yes.
And I'd even go to say
went quiet like 4 months.
I'm not here to like be conspiracy or whatever, because I mean the report's out there, but like I don't think that means that anyone's done.
Yeah,
I don't think that means anyone's out of it, especially in this specific one.
No, that's a great point. I remember, fun fact, Sports Illustrated shot 3 different commitments for Walter Nolen. He used 0 of them.
Oh.
So there you go. A great little point right there. Sorry about that, Justin Nichols. Also, sorry about that Brooks Austin's bank account, because you know who got flooded with the receipts on that? Yours truly. So that was fun. I love doing those. I love working hard, shooting a commitment video, and then the kid being like, by the way.
Sorry to do this.
Not going there. At least when EJ Lightsey did it, it was like we shot his commitment video committing to Florida, and then he decommitted and came to Georgia. At least you posted it. You know what I mean? At least we got the views off of that. That was cool. But the Walter Nolen stuff was classic. Was absolutely classic. But that leaves me to the next question. Where would you rather play and why? Would you rather go to Oregon or would you rather play for Ole Miss and what they're building this year?
I think as a recruit, I think Oregon is the more appealing place right now because you get a little bit of everything. You know, I've never been to Eugene or anything like that, but I've known that Oregon is a beautiful place and there's a lot of fun things to do out there. So I think you get that. You get the national title expectations with what Dan Lanning has built out there. You get consistency. You get continuity. You get some growth. Whereas Ole Miss, you kind of get a feeling of, I'm coming here to kind of play for myself a little bit, but maybe, just maybe, we hit lightning in a bottle and we fall face first into a national title contending team, which you might get next year.
Top sites in Eugene: the Eugene Saturday Market, the Owen Rose Garden. There's a Museum of Natural and Cultural History. I'm basically telling you, I'm pushing back on you. There's a lot to do in Eugene, Oregon.
Okay, well, when you do what my grandpa does when he wants to know what is there to do in a site, that's what you're going to get, I feel like. Like if you look up if you look up what is there to do in Athens, I guarantee it's going to be there's this museum, there's the Athens Botanical Gardens, there's Sanford Stadium, there's the bookstore.
That's fair.
Damn, bro got shots today. I hear you.
I'm just saying, like, Google's not going to say, oh, there's bars here. Like, there's also this over here. Like, you know what I'm saying.
Lots of hiking trails for my boy Walter Nolen out there in Eugene, Oregon.
Hey, man, maybe he's a nature boy. I don't even hear
any of that. Show me that Phil Knight money.
Hey, that's the real thing. You got some drip out there. Now, Ole Miss got drip too, though.
Hey, what if he's not a Jordan guy? You know? I can't do the green. The green's a bit much for me. Like, especially the green Jays with the big ducks on them.
Right.
They're 4s too, so they're already clunky. And then we're going to make some bitches green and yellow. Like, that to me is a little bit much. But I already said it. I think the best combination of hey, you can get like the money. Apparently, the word on the street is these Texas A&M guys didn't get the money that they were promised.
Yeah.
So a lot of people thought that this next decision was going to be based solely off of development for a lot of these guys. But a lot of these guys are trying to make up money that they feel like they lost because it didn't ultimately come to fruition. So some of these guys are trying to double down on the NIL efforts. I'm not saying that's the case here, but seems to be the case. It's one of the factors. It was one of the contributing factors coming out of high school for Walter as well.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that.
Seems like both Ole Miss and Oregon are doing their fair share of spending that money right now too.
Absolutely. Which football team's more impacted by this decision?
Like in regard to Ole Miss and Oregon?
Ole Miss and Oregon. Who is like drastically impacted by landing Walter Nolen the most?
I mean, it's got to be Ole Miss, right? I mean, I'm kind of getting the feel of they're trying to be in an immediate contender next year with the transfer portal class that they're building. I think we've kind of been able to get that type of vibe from several programs over the last few years of like, what are you doing in the transfer portal? Who are you getting? And when you're getting a class like Ole Miss is, you very much get the feeling of they're trying to compete and push for a title next year, or at least do something better than what they have in years past. Where Oregon, I know it's only been 2 seasons, but it seems like Dan Lanning has already got that ship sailing smoothly to where they can keep on pushing forward and not really have much of an issue, not be on a go all in on a transfer portal kid to change it.
I can't quite remember how well Dan's first 2 classes were at the interior defensive line position. I just know that he kind of bolstered that roster initially with transfers like Jordan Birch.
Yeah.
Like really, really high level, like impactful football players. And that would be essentially what this is. What were you looking up over there? What do you got?
I'm going to go spin zone.
Okay.
I'm going to say it's Oregon, and I'm going to say it's because with this roster, like you went and got Dylan Gabriel to go win right now. You're going to a Big Ten that looks wide open. Like next year, Ohio State's got a new starter. Michigan is Michigan. I don't really like Michigan is beatable, especially for an Oregon team this year that faced however many ranked opponents that they did.
Yeah.
And they don't have a defensive line commit in the transfer portal yet. And no matter what type of freshman you got, no matter what type of redshirt freshman you got, I have a really hard time thinking, unless you're the elite,
that you're not going to take a step down there. Yeah.
That you're not going to walk into the Big Ten and just push people over with the lines they had on both sides of the ball last year.
Somebody mentioned the